100 feet at the top. So I just scrambled up, and there was all kinds of deer and bear sign up there.
Oh.
It was really interesting.
Yeah. They need to do more work there, but
Go blue, baby!
It's meeting Auburn like 7:30, right?
Did you go to Michigan? Did you go to
No, left family and,
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
Born in Dearborn.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I got it on record, so
Yeah.
I don't miss anything.
So it's pretty up there, though. I think it'll be nice.
You going to the game this
Yeah.
weekend? Oh, you're not going to the game?
yeah,
This weekend.
they really need to
They're
cut a
playing
lot more,
off
but
in Texas.
a lot of that ground
No,
there
no,
is
that's
not,
tonight.
you can't
Oh, it's
get to
tonight?
it, you know,
Yeah.
it's too
Yes.
rough.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Tonight at 7:30.
It's a good start, though.
Should have canceled.
It's interesting scrambling around
Well,
up
that's
there.
why
How
I
much-
got it
how many
on
stumps you
my,
can see
on
from
record.
40 years ago when they did it before. That was really interesting.
Yeah.
All right, hey, it's 7 o'clock. Let's get this show going. All right, it is 7 o'clock, Monday, January 8th, 2024. This is the Town of Brookfield Planning Board's monthly meeting. I call this meeting to order. We will go through our roll call. I am Tim Straz, Ed Ingles,
Here.
Terry Ward,
Here.
Gus Stratton,
President Perry.
Harry McMenemy, Marshall Goldberg,
Here.
Rick Surratt, Rich Sacker.
Here.
Marshall, would you like to be a voting member this evening?
Please.
Excellent. Thank you. Any public comments? All right. None. Announcements, correspondence, mail, none. Review and possible approval of minutes from December 11th, 2023. I make the motion to accept the minutes as presented. Mr. Ward, second. Any discussion? All those in favor of accepting the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Are there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us? All right, let's start with new business. We received a petition warrant article, which has been verified. For those who are new to the board, last year, 2 years ago, we had a petition warrant article. There was a deadline, I think December 13th, in which citizens could put together a zoning warrant article with the correct number of verified signatures to get on the ballot without having to go through the planning board. So that's where we are. We're going to, let me read this. Petition warrant to amend the Brookfield zoning ordinance. The question is, are you in favor of the adoption of the following amendment to the Brookfield zoning ordinance? Add to the existing section A, 2C of the current ordinance the following. Lots located on Class 6 roads. Lots having at least 500 feet of frontage on a Class 6 road may, upon successful completion of the permit process as set forth in RSA 674-41 and Brookfield regulations, be developed with one dwelling. The lot shall have a minimum of 217,800 square feet, 5 acres. Subdivision of lots whose sole access or frontage is on a Class 6 road shall not be permitted. So now the next step is we will conduct a public hearing for this.
Is that what's referred in your amendment 1 here?
No,
Okay.
nope, this is completely separate. Yep. So we will, I know we're going to discuss our zoning ordinances later that we've put together. So the idea would be to conduct one public hearing in which we allow public comment on this zoning ordinance as well as the items that we've prepared, and then we will all vote on each amendment, and that would be published on the ballot with the wording. Right? Very good. Any questions from board members?
sorry, timing on that would be when?
So, we're gonna discuss that. But by the end of this
Potentially
meeting,
be on this year?
yeah, yes,
Yes.
yeah, it would be on the ballot. So when we'll discuss it later with our own zoning ordinances,
Okay.
but all of them would have to go together.
Wasn't it January 11th or something, we had to get everything in?
We have to publish a hearing date by the 11th, if we're not gonna have a second hearing, is the requirement, so. The next item is planning board declarations of candidacy for 2024. So, starting on January 24th, running to February 2nd, is the first day for candidates in towns with nonpartisan official ballot system to file declarations of candidacy with the town clerk. So that would be anybody looking to become a planning board member. So, Terry, you and our terms expired in March, and so there'll be 2 openings that will run until 2027, but also we need to make sure that we account for the 2-year opening that we have right now for 2026. So is the best way to send a note to the selectmen to indicate that? To make sure it's accounted for on the ballot?
Town clerk does all that,
Okay,
so to make sure she has the correct data.
okay, I will do that.
What was that date again, Timmy? They had to be in by?
It starts on the 24th of this month and runs to February 2nd.
February 2nd, that is a deadline.
Yes, yep. Second is Friday. I'm looking at the right calendar, yeah. Yeah, so it starts Wednesday 24th and it's Friday the 2nd. All right, moving on. Old business, gravel pit inspections, reclamation plans. So I didn't do anything on this since our last meeting because I went back and looked at 155E 5A zoning, which was what we were referencing to get the reclamation plans for. And I don't believe that was we're referencing the right item. I think we need to be, and this is where I wanted to bring this up as a question. So 155E 5A and 5 are the minimum express, well 5 is the minimum express reclamation standards. And for that to start, it's the reclamation process is 12 months after the expiration date and a permit issued, or the completion of an excavation, whichever occurs first. It says the landowner should have completed the reclamation of the areas affected by the excavation to meet the following minimum standards. And then 155E 5A is for any area, excavation area 5 contiguous acres or more, which is depleted of commercial earth materials. So I wanted to bring that up because I think we need to, and this is where the question becomes, is if you read 155E3, application for permit, it says application should be signed and dated by the applicant and shall contain at least the following information. And item 6 is a plan for the reclamation of the area affected by the excavation, at least in compliance with RSA 155E5 and 5A, which such plan shall address the effects of the proposed excavation on soil, surface water, and groundwater, so on and so forth. And may address future land use consistent with the approved master plan, shall include a timetable for reclamation of fully depleted areas within the excavation site during said project. So my question to the fellow board members is anything completed for us to ask for a reclamation plan to show that they're going to be doing something?
Is anything completed?
Is anything completed? Because my reading of those two are a plan has to be presented for the reclamation process if a permit is complete or if the area is complete. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Was Carrie gonna get that information for us?
She was asking for it, but we were going to send a letter as a result of the last meeting. And as I was reading the letter that Ed had prepared and proofreading it, then it kind of hit me as like, well, we're assuming that something's done. But do we know if anything is done? Like you did, you did the inspections and they're all active. They're all under 5 acres in size.
Doesn't the plan have to take place at the time of the application?
Well, this is, yeah, and I agree, but this is where the grandfathering process which goes with the land. So, I mean, we certainly can ask for a reclamation plan, but I'm going to rewrite this letter so it's just citing that as part of the application process, and we'll have to see what we get. Or
Now, they're not applying again.
I know, that's
right?
where,
The applications are
right,
decades old.
yes,
Is there a section in here at all on grandfathers?
no, as I recall. But, any public comment, Mr.
Yes,
Comeau?
of course, you see the steam come off my head?
No, Steve.
Let me try to clarify or understand what you're saying. You feel that since it's below 5 acres in operation, that you feel the reclamation plan is not needed. Did I hear you right?
No, I'm not saying it's not needed. I'm saying by reading the statutes here, it's saying that it's not required until completion. And I'm looking for clarity and consensus and understanding amongst the peers here, whether I'm seeing that correctly.
Well, may I?
Yeah,
I
continue,
would
absolutely.
certainly side on the fact that we already had this straightened out years ago
Yes.
by having the plans already. You already gave us the plans. I'm still a little confused about where you're seeing that since, repeat again like you did in the beginning about where you're seeing that it is not 155E 5A.
What's that?
You said it doesn't refer to that one section, it refers to, you say it does not refer to section 155-E:5.
Right.
You're saying that those pits, under this circumstance, goes by which section? You said it was...
No, I'm not. 155E 5-A pertains to incremental reclamation. So it states in here, any excavation area of 5 contiguous acres or more, which is depleted of commercial earth materials, excluding bedrock or any excavation from which earth materials blah, 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 have not been removed for a 2-year period, shall be reclaimed in accordance with 155E5 within 12 months following such depletion or 2 years of non-use.
Correct. I understand, but you can't ignore the rest of the paragraph. That's the way I read it. That the way the laws are written is just the Constitution. It goes on, comma, on, comma, on, comma.
Yes.
It has a
Oh,
period,
absolutely.
but it still means that each operator, other than the operator of a stationary manufacturing plant, etc., still pertains to that section, which I understand what you're saying.
Yep.
You're saying that it's not an incremental reclamation, but I don't think we're reading it right that way.
Well, if we're going to send a letter to them asking for a reclamation plan, I want to make sure we're asking it for the right reason. And if we send them stating this ordinance here, then we're not stating it correctly. We're not asking for the right we're not asking for the right reasons.
Repeat again which one you think needs to be in the letter.
I'm thinking that we have to go back, well, the question is, do we go back to stating that 155E3, application for permit, section 6, whether or not that needs to be the reference to it, but not, but putting it previously submitted.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. You should be clear in the letter, so it's not.
Yeah, I don't want to confuse them and create more in this ask.
Do you need the subchapter? Can't you just say 155E?
Yeah, we could do that, I suppose.
The reason why that makes sense is because if you look at the inspection form that we've been using for years, it doesn't specify exactly what, it just says 155E.
Yeah.
It was under my understanding that even the existing gravel pits already understood that and gave us the plans. So I don't know how to clarify it, other than calling OSI and finding out exactly what section that would be, whether it should be in the letter, or just simply say 155E. And I believe the one pit, Moose Mountain LLC, stated that they're working on it.
They did.
Because they already have a copy of it somewhere.
Yep.
So it's not that they don't have a plan, it's just, my issue is that you're a regulator. This is one of the important things the planning board does, and that should not be left. It should be on file here, period. That was it.
We don't disagree.
Does Brookfield have an excavation regulation?
We do.
And is there any reference in that to the reclamation?
I haven't looked at it in a while, to be honest with you.
But it would refer back to the RSA that the state uses, because that's what the planning board's charged.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find
Yes, sir.
If we know what year these pits drew the original application, wouldn't they fall under the statutes for that particular year? If you look at the bottom of E3, see the history?
Yep.
And in 79 it was 481.2,
Yep.
and 89 it was that, and so on. If we know when the pit started, wouldn't it fall under those requirements? That's just a thought.
Yeah, we could go back, yes, Ed?
It could
Yes.
with the other pit. But the Moose Mountain LLC pit, I don't know if I don't know if that would be the same, since it's changed ownership. I don't think the permit gets carried over from owner to owner,
Good point.
as far as I understand.
Yeah.
But the other pit, I don't want to use the name, but the other
Yeah.
pit, we know that pit's been there for how long? I don't know, since 1950, I don't know. So maybe he doesn't have to have one for that.
Looks like our regulations mirror this 155E language
Okay.
for the most part.
I think that was written several decades ago.
Yeah, it was updated in 18 and 21, yeah.
Okay. All right, so we will, I think what I'll do is I'll just rewrite this, omit the 5A part, and I'll get it out. And we'll try to get something for the February meeting.
And maybe push that date back a couple weeks or something.
Yeah.
Are these permitted in perpetuity, once you start it?
Once he sells it?
Well, once a person owns it or starts it,
Well, as long as they're the owner,
so there's no reapplication.
Can't answer that.
They have to apply with the state every year to operate, but it's always, since it's been designated a pit, it goes with the land, whoever owns it.
Was there even one before 1979, grandfather? Do you know?
I don't know.
We don't know, Richard.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have to have an application if it was prior to 79.
Yeah,
In which case there may not be a reclamation.
right.
Can I make one final comment on this?
You sure can.
Maybe not be the final one. This meeting.
For tonight it will be.
When is it ever?
When Rick and I were doing all the inspections to both these pits, there was hardly any activity. Every year it was the same exact, it wasn't over the 5 acres, it was
Yeah.
just always basically the same. Now, at some point in time, the Moose Mountain LLC pit really accelerated.
Yeah.
My issue is, if I had to inspect that now, I would wonder, how do I know exactly how much has been removed? How do I know exactly, is it over 5 acres? See, I don't know how you're doing that. Like, how are we determining that exact 5 acres has been removed or not? I don't know how we're doing that now. I don't know if we're bringing a sight line down on things. They have equipment that will do that, but I don't know if that's even written in our regs. And would it go by
Doesn't
the
the
amount?
town receive a statement every year of,
How many tons are taken out?
right, but they also have to say an estimate of how much tonnage there is.
I don't think so.
I thought that was part of it.
No, they tell us what they've excavated,
Yeah,
and they tell us what they're planning to excavate the following year.
gotcha.
And all the yield taxes and everything are all on file and everything else. And do we have a copy of the permit? Does the planning board hold that?
I've never seen it.
What permit you made it?
His actual operating permit, who actually holds that in our records? Is it the planning board? Because I don't see that in our regs. And I don't know, is it the tax collector? Who actually,
Are you asking for the intent to excavate paperwork?
his state permit that he gets from?
We don't see his state permit.
You
We
don't.
see his intent to excavate, and he mails a $100 check to the state, and they give them, if they issue a permit, it goes directly to him.
Because when I was there, the permits were in the pit. He actually has it taped to one of the buildings.
It comes from the state.
That's the state. So we're not charged with making sure that that's in place. That's not our business. Our business is just to inspect it. Just put that out there. Okay.
DES probably monitors that, but,
Department of Revenue.
oh, really?
All right. Move on. Review subdivision regulations. So I sent everybody out copy of the formatted, updated subdivision regulations. I left the highlighted parts. The only item change from the last time was the additional from the minimum of 250 feet. And then I added everybody's name at the end. Any comments at all?
I think the changes that were highlighted are fine. When you read the entire document, there's multiple sections in there that I'm not sure belong in there. Lot line adjustment. Is that a subdivision? I'm not sure. Road specification. If that's the only place we have a road specification. Should we pull some of these items out and put in a special document, a different document?
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure, the title on top is subdivision. So if it's not a subdivision, do these apply? Right? Maybe we want to pull it out in the future.
Okay.
So for example, you could do a lot line adjustment, not in a subdivision,
Yes.
just with your neighbor or whatever.
Sure.
Right.
And if that's the only place we have the specification on how you do it under
Yeah,
subdivision,
it should be
then
simple.
you can say it's not applicable. But I don't want to change it now.
Okay. I would propose that we conduct our public hearing for our amendments, that we also conduct a public hearing for our the subdivision regulation document.
Same day.
Is it here? Yeah, we'll conduct one hearing for that, and then conduct another hearing for right on the back of it. Yes,
Would the changes be noted in that hearing, or would it just be the document itself?
just be the document. We can make available this highlighted copy for folks, for the public. Anybody want to make a motion to conduct a public hearing? I'll make the motion to conduct a public hearing.
Second.
When, do it at the same time we conduct
At the
ours.
session, yeah.
Okay.
Will that be at that February meeting?
Likely before then.
Do we already have a motion to have the other ones considered? So this one is now at the same time as something we haven't approved yet? Or that's going to happen either way?
Well, we're gonna, yeah, we're gonna have
We're going to have that now.
we're gonna have a public hearing, yes. Well, we'll make the motion to conduct the hearing at the next public hearing. How's that? All right, any discussion? Enough silence. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And opposed? All right, so we will have a public hearing on subdivision regulations at our next public hearing. How's that? Zoning ordinance review. All right, so I sent out everybody document with our 3 amendments. Had a discussion with town lawyer on the first 2, and she's all set with those. Felt the rationale was good, so we can move forward with those 2. The third one, I've been going back and forth with her on, and I handed out to everyone the revisions from today. I will say that because we used another town as a template, which had lots of different zones within their town, of course it was way too much information, so removed the group net metering, nameplate rating, utility scale, energy creation, and just shrunk it down to single-family residential, multi-unit residential, and small utility scale. And there were several references to special exceptions, and we're just deleted those out because if there's an exception, it could go for variance for the ZBA. What else did I move here? We had several references to commercial farms and like small and large metering. Our zoning doesn't allow for those activities.
I have a question.
Just go for it.
On the Article 24A, at the bottom where it says a freestanding solar energy system may have a nameplate capacity rating of 30 kilowatts.
Yep.
Should that be up to 30 kilowatts? Or it's not considered 30 kilowatts or more?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Good catch.
I had trouble with 5 feet.
Yeah, that's totally confused me every time I read it. But that's exactly like word for word from Durham.
Because earlier we said we want 150 or not visible. And then this seems to,
So this would only occur in a rec zone or a workforce housing overlay location
where do we say that?
on the table of uses.
Okay, so we've got workforce housing all the way down 109.
Yep.
Multi-unit or non-residential solar energy. Non-residential.
Multi-unit or non-residential.
Okay, so just take them either one. Non-residential, that would be, what's a non-residential?
Or rec one. Rec one.
I don't see it. How'd you get there?
It's on the table.
On the table, I gotta read this. Okay, so that says this is allowed in the workforce housing overlay.
Yep.
Which is all of our Route 109.
Yep.
So by having that X there under RA1, it means that a farm could not put up one of these.
That's right.
You mean
A farm could not put up one of these systems.
Well, they couldn't use this, they couldn't use this,
For non-residential
For
use. They
right.
could use it for residential.
right, because the whole town is our residential agriculture, so.
what I'm suggesting is that we've got a large portion of the town that we're going to allow our standards to change and not have the 150-foot setback. It says, when I read this, the building is the restriction, not the footage from the,
Right.
so,
So if the building, it has to be so far back,
the
It would defer.
75 feet.
yep,
Or a grandfather's building that might be picking up a different number.
so this is saying the system could be no closer than that 75 feet.
Or grandfather building.
Has to be basically behind the closest part of the building. Or next.
And earlier, I'm missing something, obviously, earlier we say it's got to be 150 or out of sight,
Yep,
except if it's on 109. I'm not trying to spin it too much, but I'm spinning it a little, right? It's on 109, which is our overlay. These regulations apply, not the 150, but rather the building. Is that what we want? Am I missing something?
It seems to me like on 109 is where you wouldn't want it.
I don't think I want it anywhere.
Well, I know, but if there's 500 acres up the road and it's in the middle of that, like it's less visible certainly than if it was next door to here.
That's how I read it. Unless I'm reading it wrong.
well, so it's no part of the system, maybe placed closer, so it, yeah, so it's, yeah, freestanding multi-unit, okay, so no part of the freestanding system, you can,
Why do we even have that section 5 in there?
we don't have to if you don't want to. I mean,
Isn't there gonna be some static from the one that's right down the road, it's like 50 feet from the stone wall, right off of 109, on the right there, heading out.
Well, let's not talk about locations, let's talk about the.
Well, I'm just saying, it's right there, and that is certainly visible, and it's nowhere near 150 feet. I mean, I would think that would end up being,
this is only going forward.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
going
it's
forward,
already
so
there.
we're not gonna talk about that.
well, no, yeah, okay, I'm just saying they'd probably use that for ammunition, though, to say, well, they've got it, and I don't. Just a thought.
Well, that's true of anything we pass, right? We had 3 acres, now you can't,
Right.
now it's 5 acres, maybe.
I'm not opposed to removing this because we have small utility scale solar energy system
Right below.
which allows it to conform. I mean, the problem is if you look at our table, we have, well, actually, I don't think we can omit that one because we need to have some way in order, well, what happens if somebody wants to put in workforce housing
Yes,
and they want to put a solar system in with it?
yes.
What regulation would you follow here? If we just had single family or small utility, there would be no guidance for them.
What if we just make it 150 feet? Or
We
the
do
other-
that too, yeah. I mean, we can use 6B.
That makes more sense to me. Got a question from the public?
Craig's got a question.
Yes, I'm sorry, Craig.
Yeah, on the overlay, wouldn't whatever regulation you have for the overlay only apply if somebody got a building permit for workforce housing or multiple housing unit?
Yeah.
If I own 50 acres on 109 that has the overlay, but I build a house on it,
Yeah.
I have to follow the regulations for a private residence.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, I mean, Rich's thing that it's all 109, it would only apply, I mean, since the overlay was installed, what, 10 years ago, 12 years ago? There's not been any workforce housing built.
Right.
Doesn't mean there won't be any in the future.
Right.
It's unlikely in this town.
Yeah.
But it would, what you've written for the overlay, the workforce housing, would only apply if somebody got a building permit for a multiple unit.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. It's not as strict as, I think is the debate we're having, it's not as strict as the other two.
Why would you make it looser for workforce housing? I mean, if somebody put up a 3-unit building on 2 acres, that's allowed, I guess?
Well, they may not have space to be able to put that, so this is pertaining to a freestanding system.
Yeah.
So the question is, do they have space to put it?
But that's not a given that that's a requirement that they have space. If they don't have space, there's not space.
Right.
Right.
I guess you could,
Yeah.
I guess you could question, why would you give a break to somebody building workforce housing when you don't give it to a individual building?
Absolutely, that's a good point.
Well, we do. In the residential, if it's less than 12 feet in height, it goes behind the residence. It's the same language.
Yeah.
You have a choice, you only need one of those 4 things under 4B.
Yeah.
Not visible, 150 feet, and then there's a 12-foot.
So if we take it the other direction, if we talk about Rec 1, and they wanted to put a non-residential solar energy system in place, it would have to be, the question would be, does it go, could they put it next to the utility building, or would they put it next to the lodge? Because this zoning would say that it would have to be in the same location. It couldn't be in the front. So if you look at it in that terms, it seems to be, because if you said it had to be at least 150 feet from the property line, then it could be in the disc golf area by the road.
Could be closer, yeah.
I don't follow how you made the jump. It says, permitted single-family resident systems.
Well, for the, if we go back to the multi-unit or non-residential,
Okay.
so which would be permitted, which currently we're saying is permitted in Rec 1 by the table, then it could only be installed by the lodge. But if they put in a solar energy system principal use, if you use that language, it could be put in the field, the front of the property.
Which would be closer, because the lodge is like 300 feet, and this could be 150, right?
Right. So, in talking aloud about this, so you have it permitted in Rec 1 that you could do this. Granted, we have one Rec 1 zone currently. They couldn't build a small utility scale solar energy system principal use, because that's not the principal use of the property. Use the 150 feet, or so we think, unless they decide to raise it and build a solar farm there. So,
And that's the only place it could be built, right, in town?
right now, for Rec 1, unless another Rec 1 zone was created.
And if it's a freestanding unit.
Right. Right.
So let's decompose this. The challenge was we don't want solar panels visible from the road. And I think that's covered under residential. And when we took the multifamily overlay, we give them a pass. And it looks like we might give them a pass on the rec zone also, if you play it right. My one bias in January, whatever you are, is to make it all 150 and then change it again next year.
Yeah, could do that.
Because I think if we start reworking these two different
Yeah.
sets, we're going to be there for a while.
Yep.
So you just say from front and side property lines if a corner lot.
Well, I'd say we use 6B as, just duplicate that in 5B. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yep. And you want to do something similar for the rest?
Yeah, they would do the same.
It may be more restrictive than we really want this year, but we
Yeah.
have something to present and move forward to protect the rest of the town.
Yep.
So 5B is going to be like 6B.
They'll do the same. Yeah. Anybody else? Okay.
And the rec zones as well.
So the rec zone could either be a multi-unit residential or non-residential solar energy system accessory use, or a small utility scale solar energy system principal use.
I don't know which direction they face. Where would they want to put it?
They face
Southwest.
Yeah, they face north.
They face north?
The mountain blocks it.
So they'd have to put it where to get sun? Up by the road
Yeah.
facing over the hill?
Yeah,
In the parking lot,
yeah, it would face towards the parking lot.
150
To the
feet down the
south.
road.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Probably still be visible on that property.
Yeah, unless there's a bunch of
Yeah,
trees.
you wouldn't have solar glare or reflection on you at all. Hello.
Oh, you.
Good, how are you?
Doing well.
Is
So,
that what we want? Is that okay? I mean, or they have to use pedestals, right? But they still want to face over the mountain.
yeah. But they would have to declare that that's the principal use. I don't know if it would fly, because it's a zone recreation, it's not zone commercial. I mean, the requirements are, yeah, so it just needs a site plan, and a freestanding system needs to be 100 feet, 50 feet from the road, and screened from the vegetation from single-family homes, neighboring roads, and abutting properties in accordance with site plan regulations. And is reasonably determined by the planning board.
What do you think the odds are that a zoning board would give them a hardship case because they can't get a solar shot from, if they stick to the ordinance?
Well, they would have to come to the planning board first. For approval and site plan review. So the planning board would be the regulators of the solar regulations.
So it sounds like face the mountain and put shrubs in or trees in.
I think the winter sun would be a hard get on this side of that mountain.
Yep.
Well, that's, to make it work, you have to figure out where they're gonna put it, right?
Yeah, right, or if it's worth it.
That's right. So 150 and hidden from the road, I think would be okay, because it would be difficult to get in there with the current technology.
It's probably about where the parking lot starts,
Yeah.
right?
Does their property extend over the other side of the mountain?
Right to the top,
To the top.
just to
Oh,
the
that's
top.
it?
Yeah, as soon as you go over the top, it's conservation.
But that's a good question. What's up top? That's 150 feet from the road.
Something
Where the cable would need to get that energy down where they can use it.
True.
Cost prohibitive, I would think.
True.
Yeah, the longer the cable, you lose.
It has to be massive.
yeah.
It would have to be high voltage, so you'd have to have a transformer up there to push it down.
we've made some edits.
We're gonna leave the rec zone alone, I think, right?
I'm sorry?
We're gonna leave the rec zone alone? I didn't hear any proposed changes.
No, I think the only thing is I'm going to just edit the language for A to match 5A. They're going to be nearly the same. So,
Just a question, is there any reason we just don't X out the bottom line, period? I know we're kind of dealing with one property, but, and then let's see what happens at the public hearing. For the vote.
you want to omit small utility scale
Like, you just
solar
can't do
system
it.
in
Yeah,
total?
you just can't have a solar farm. Anyway. I mean, I don't know any of the background, if they're thinking about it, or if they come to the meeting and say, hey, that's not fair, or whatever, but it would simplify it.
Yeah.
If you want to build multi-unit and have it, great, but rather than the whole debate we just
Yeah.
had, it could be on top of the mountain, it could be in the parking lot, is it 150 to build, there's just like a lot going on.
Yep. Well, we're also saying, so if we do that, then it would say 5C, the solar energy system shall be sized to provide up to the projected annual energy needs of the multi-unit or non-residential use, including approved ancillary uses.
Yep.
Yep.
So this, we want to X out 6, and get rid of small
We're
utility
talking about
scale.
Xing out 5, now we're Xing out 6.
Well, I think we've made, but so if we keep 5, the multi-unit residential, non-residential solar energy system, that covers Rec 1 and workforce housing. The single-family residence covers RA1, the rest of the zone in the town. We don't have to have small utility scale solar energy systems.
Just take it out of the table.
Take it out of the table and take it off
Take it out of 6.
out of 6.
Is that gonna limit, if people wanna put 50 kilowatt system up, is that, by eliminating that small scale utility, is that gonna get rid of that option?
It would say you would have to, well, yes, it would say it has to be sized to provide up to the projected annual energy needs.
For what how do you project that? Because you may have energy needs that may exceed what the 30 or 35 kilowatt
Yeah.
standard is.
Well, there is no standard set for this, for 5, so you could put as big as you need for the amount of energy you consume. So if it was, say, a new construction of a multi-family home, we'd have to provide an engineering study, I would say, or something, in order to support their ask. If it was, if the ski area reopened and they wanted to power the whole thing by solar, they'd have to tell us how much power they would use to run all the equipment.
A single-family residential solar energy system can create enough power for the home. And I would assume all the buildings on the home, the barn, whatever.
Yeah.
I have no idea if 30 kilowatts is sufficient.
It's more than enough.
That's
It
pretty,
is.
that's
Yes.
hefty.
I have no idea,
Yeah.
But if you need more, right, you can do it under 5 as a non-residential, and say, I need 50, and do a 50. Right?
Well, it wouldn't work because you're in a residential agricultural zone.
It's permitted here in your table.
But only if you have a workforce housing. So you have to,
Or non-residential. If you have a farm, and you're gonna use 50 kilowatts, you could size it to 50 kilowatts.
do you live on the farm?
I don't,
Well, this person live on the farm.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Then it would be in the residential agricultural zone, RA1. So we're going by physical location. The overlay just pertains to that, the proximity of 109, and it would be pertain to anybody who had a multifamily home that was designated as workforce housing, which you have to apply for.
But you could then do a 50 if you were going to use that much.
Yeah, if you could justify it, yeah. All right. We're gonna make some edits, more edits. So we're removing 6, removing 6. The language for B will go up to 5B. And we'll remove this off the table. So you have all, if somebody wants to, in any of the zones, wants to install a solar energy system, they have a method. To do that.
This will be part of the public hearing.
Yes. So the question becomes, do we approve our amendments with edits and schedule our public hearing for 2 weeks from the 11th, or 2 weeks from today? Or probably actually longer than that. I mean, today's the 8th, 22nd. So I'd have to post it by Friday.
I shoot for the 29th and still post it by Friday.
Okay.
And the question is, you have to have something available for the public to see before the hearings.
Yes.
We want to get together and look at them one more time before you put them on the table or the website or wherever you're going to put them.
Yep. We could.
We could just email us a copy with the edits, and we could send any questions we have back to you. Just a thought.
You do that too, but we should look at them first, right? Whether it's electronically or whatever.
Yes, of course, yeah. No, it will go out first. Yeah, no, you'll see it first. All right. So I'll make the motion that we accept the amendments with edits. And we will schedule our public hearing for January 29th.
I'll second that.
Oh, I'm sorry, Craig.
Yeah, so you're eliminating the possibility of a second hearing. If you get a lot of feedback on particularly
Yeah,
your,
we're kind of close. You're right.
well, actually, Monday the 22nd, you have to have your first hearing if you anticipate a second
Right.
hearing.
That's correct. Yes.
And it seems to me, particularly with the amendment you just discussed, you might want to allow for amending your amendment if we get a lot of, I mean, to tell you the truth, nobody's probably going to come anyways. But,
My heart.
well,
Confidence just went down the tubes.
My heart.
you've attended these before, haven't you?
I've run quite a few of them.
Actually, between the 5-acre zoning and the
Yeah,
one you just discussed,
yeah.
place
There might be
where
some
you build,
folks.
you might have to move to the Paul School. But anyways, I think it would be wise to allow, at least for this perception that a second hearing
Yeah.
could happen.
What's the last day?
You gotta post by Thursday. January 11th, you have to post.
Yeah, that shouldn't be,
10 days before the 22nd.
yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
So it's gonna be the 27th then.
And the regs for posting for zoning amendment changes are very, very particular. If you look at the RSA.
Well, we're not gonna get a newspaper posting.
Right. So you can post on the front page of the town website with a direct link to the amendments.
Yep,
And then 2 public places, not 1, 2.
yeah. We're gonna put it over next door.
Why not put it at the post office as the second one?
Yeah.
And the kiosk in the post office. More people will see it at the post office than here.
What does the rules of procedure say?
We have to post it in 2 places.
I thought we specified exactly where.
Yeah, out here is 1. The second was in the default
Stone.
location. Yeah,
Which no longer exists.
yeah.
And actually, I think your rules of procedure still say in the newspaper.
Yeah,
It's the RSA that's changed that. Your rules of procedure need to be updated.
yeah, that's true.
I mentioned that because if you don't post exactly the way our rules of procedure says, then there's a problem with that.
Would that meeting be at 6 or 7 o'clock?
It would be at 7.
Thank you.
So what's it gonna be?
We're gonna go for the 22nd.
All right.
And the 29th if need be, right?
Nope,
That's marked
Oh.
okay.
15th is,
22nd?
15th. It's the 15th, yeah. Next Monday,
Is that okay? Yeah.
yeah.
If there's another one, another hearing, do you still need the 10 days again?
I think you continue it.
It just, okay. So it could be the next day? Okay.
You have to, by January 25th, you have to post. For the
22nd, then you could have another one.
But we have to give them to the town clerk early in February.
February 6th. All right. Let's try this again. So I'll make the motion to conduct a public hearing on February 22nd for our amended zoning articles.
January 22nd.
January 22nd. Did I say February?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, January 22nd. Thank you. Let's try this again. Make a motion to conduct a public hearing on January 22nd for our zoning, amended zoning articles. Do I have a second?
Second.
We've discussed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So we'll conduct our public hearing on January 22nd. We'll conduct 2 public hearings. One for, we'll start with our zoning ordinances, and then our second hearing will be for our subdivision regulations.
7 o'clock?
7 o'clock. All right, any member comments?
Mr. Surratt volunteered us to work the dinner or something at the end of the month. Does anybody have any more information about what that's all about, or I don't really know anything? We were supposed to work it? Does anybody else remember this, or Mike?
I remember you mentioning it, but I
It's
didn't.
being
you didn't
Saturday
set
in
a date.
January, I think.
There was a conversation at the select board meeting the other day about the date. They were unsure about the date.
Yeah, our comment was, we set up for voting the 23rd.
Yep. There's not much time.
It's set up already.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, so yeah, I can't use the space.
So then it's gotta go down and go up again,
Yeah.
possibly, or we can vote with, but it's gotta go down by, we're voting on the 23rd. To 8 o'clock at night, we won't be out here till late.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, was it 8 to 8 or 7 to
7
8?
to 8.
7 to 8?
8 to 7. 8 to
8
7.
to 7. 10. So was that dinner was off then? Off the
I
table?
don't know, but Mr. Surratt is not here. Any other comments? I have a comment. I will not be continuing on the planning board when my term is complete in March. All right. Our next meeting is January 22nd at 7 o'clock. We'll conduct a public hearing as we discussed. Our regular monthly meeting will be February 12th. It is 8:06. The meeting is adjourned.
I do have a question about kilowatts.
Yep.
Thanks, get some sleep.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm kind of, I don't know,
Just be volunteer.